Hello and welcome to today's episode of Jedihunter Toy Reviews, where today we're going to be taking a look at the latest Godzilla figure from Neca, Godzilla 2001, otherwise known as Godzilla from Giant Monsters All-Out Attack, sometimes abbreviated to Godzilla GMK. Quick before I get into the actual figure itself outside of the box, one thing I want to mention that I've had an issue with most of the Neca Godzilla figures so far, aside from the actual NES version of 1985, is the actual packaging itself. As you can see, it comes in this sort of plastic shell container, not unsimilar to sort of like the carded look that they've done for some of their Predators. I know some might like the packaging itself for these guys. Me personally, I really don't, just based on the fact that it is plastic and there's no reusability out of it as compared to, say, something like the Monster Arts line, where it's very easy to open it and save it, as well as if you want to put it back in the packaging once you're done displaying it, or say if you're moving. Really easy to just put it back in the box, as opposed to these guys. You know, you can save them if you want, but most people are probably going to throw them away just because there's no real reusability out of them. Outside of that, one thing I would like to note as well, that it isn't as big an issue as compared to the plastic case of the box, as well as just the box itself, is just the overall kind of laziness, or maybe it's just something to do with Toho not allowing them to change the sort of logos and stuff. But I really think it's odd, and it's been odd ever since the original 1994 Godzilla that they released back in 2014, that they've just been, you know, using the old Bandai creation Godzilla right here from I believe it was 2014 that this one came out, because this was the same type of packaging that they used for the 2014 line. Same thing down here, same exact thing, just minor change for the name itself. And of course, on the back of the box, you can see right here, just features the nice promo image of the actual 2001 Godzilla figure, which, you know, honestly, my favorite thing about the actual boxes themselves is you get this really nice promotional image for each single figure that comes inside. Definitely, like I said, my favorite thing about the packaging is just this nice little promo image. But yeah, no, one thing I would really like in future releases, if they would change it up just a little bit. But of course, like I said, if it's something to do with Toho and sort of their licensing arrangement, I completely understand why they have to use this sort of packaging design. Not so much the plastic shell, but the actual sort of card inserts themselves. I completely get that. Just one thing that I really wish that they would change going forward, just because it really stands out quality difference wise. I mean, or say the 1954 figure from last year, it was just kind of comical, just having the really nice looking NECA figure inside the packaging with the really kind of goofy looking 1954 Bandai creation figure as the backdrop. Just really stood out to me, and not really something that I'm a big fan of, like I've stated a few times here. And just really hope that they change it going forward, especially since we're going to be getting Shin Godzilla sometime next year, I'm assuming. But with NECA, their Godzilla lines are just a little spotty, especially since the last couple of years. Ever since the line started, it's kind of like dwindled in terms of releases. Alright, fresh out of the box, and I gotta say, this guy looks so good. I mean, not necessarily my favorite out of the releases that NECA's done so far, but they did a fantastic job. I've been looking for this figure ever since they announced him. Honestly, myself, I passed up the Monster Arts release in favor of this one, just due to the fact that he's only 20 bucks, as opposed to, I think, the Monster Arts version was, God, what was it, like $80 when it first came out? But yeah, no, as you can see right here, really nice paint job for the most part on the dorsal spines, or fins, depending on how you prefer to call them. They have a really nice white to them, as you can see right here, both sides. Honestly, like, you know, I know that NECA's really messed up the the choices for the dorsal fins with some of the figures. But I really think they nailed it with these ones. They're not sort of like the really thin, flimsy ones that we got with the 1985 figure. I think it's kind of more returning back to how the first ones came out with the 1994 and also the Burning Godzilla, where they have like a little bit of a thickness to them, so it's not like really flimsy and loose feeling or even looking to them. But also I noticed like just some minor issues with the paint on this figure itself in terms of the dorsal fins. You can see like a couple issues right here on this side, just missing some white, and of course going all the way down there's just like some black and probably just left over from the mold too. And then of course on this side too you can notice some like darkness right here, and of course like some paint spots missing, and then even like not so much of a big issue right here on this fin, but as you can see it's not as white as, you know, I'd personally like it, and probably for screen accuracy. And of course like this side too got a little bit more blasted, the black, than the other side did. A close-up, they look really nice. I mean, I was really surprised when I saw some of the promo pics, and I was hoping that they, you know, would hold up in terms of the actual release of the figure. And yeah, no, they look really good. They're in there nice and sturdy, you can see. Not so many issues that I've had with some of the past figures, sort of having like some glue seams sticking out, like very noticeably, kind of, you know, messing with the paint job a little bit. But yeah, main issue just being like some of the paint issues that you can see, like some of it's missing, and then just how on this side you can definitely see that they did a better paint job for some reason on this side, where it's a lot more white like it should be. But yeah, no, really nice job on the dorsal fins, I gotta say. They did a great job. I really gotta say, I'm glad that NECA stuck with the choice that they've been doing with the necks ever since 1954. As you can see, it doesn't have that weird cone look like 94 and Burning Godzilla had. They've been just kind of sticking with that, which is really good. As you know, as you can see, you can get quite a bit of movement out of it. Not so much down that, you know, you really should go. As you can see, it's got the gap, but like little to no movement up once you get right there. That's not going to go any farther than that. And then for the head itself, the sculpt is really good. Overall, it's really nice. Definitely, you know, like I said, NECA's been stepping their game up and been getting pretty much better with every release for the most part. God, really nice. You can see the nice little whiteness in the eye. Did a really good job painting that. Really nice texture overall. I mean, it's like you can feel like all the scales and like the little like row of fins kind of going on. Well, I wouldn't say row of fins maybe, but like part of his crest up here, and then the eyebrows, really nice. I know it's a little exaggerated perhaps as compared to what he looks like in the film, but I think it looks really nice overall. Really nice right here on the nose, looks good. One issue though with the actual head sculpt itself is just how it kind of sticks out a lot right here, kind of, I don't know, maybe like sort of like a guild look or something. Really odd choice on their part. That definitely hampers it a little bit in terms of the look, as I haven't really seen that issue with any of their other figures, so the fact that it's there just kind of is a really odd choice for me. And then of course like the teeth right here, another really nice job on painting them. Not really too many issues outside of like, you know, sort of like bleeding in. You can see like the nice little gums right here, which basically is just one piece that's painted over. As you can tell, it's just a pink base on both the bottom and the top that they just kind of painted the teeth in on the sides, and you can see the nice little tongue right here. But one thing that is an issue with me overall, aside from the legs on this figure, that really kind of keeps it from being like, you know, the best, or perhaps maybe even the second best out of the 6-inch figures, is really more than any of the figures that I can recall. You can see all the way in the back right there, the little joint right there is so noticeable, and it's just really kind of throws it off a bit. But the worst part, I mean, I could honestly forgive that part. The part I really cannot forgive is just how he's got, well, I mean, like this is a minor part, just the overbite where it kind of ducks in a little bit. But the part I really cannot forgive is just, I don't know who made this decision at NECA. It is one of the worst decisions they've made in the Godzilla line in a while, but the whole jaw right here is a separate piece, and not only is it a separate piece, it sticks out as opposed to the rest of the Godzilla line where it kind of goes in a bit and is kind of covered, so it looks more of like a single piece, or like, it's not a weird addition, but it just sticks out here on the side and it's just really noticeable for me. But the worst part is that it's, like I stated, like the teeth and the gums, like it's just painted there because the base is just pink on the inside, but the whole jaw is actually pink, and they just really lazily painted over, and it just looks like crap in some figures that I've seen. I mean, mine fares a little bit better than most in some instances, but I mean, my God, like, you can see the difference in color right here. Like, this is more of a light color and this is dark, and you could even see on some sides, like, let me see if it's on this side. Yeah, like you can see it bleeding through and just kind of looking a little bloody. I mean, maybe some people might like that, but I've seen a lot worse where it's just more of like pink cracks all around and it just looks so terrible. And it's sort of like not even a black or a charcoal gray on here. It's kind of, basically just sort of like a purplish color because they really didn't blend it properly, in my opinion, and it just really looks like crap and stands out, and it just really hurts this figure for me. Like, I was so disappointed when I saw the pictures, because I actually got my figure, I think it was last week, or maybe it might have been October 30th, when this guy arrived, and I was really excited, even though I saw the images, like I stated, that people had gotten this figure and it was just really bad with the paint right here, and I was like, okay, I've had bad luck with some of these figures in the past, maybe it'll be a little bit better, and it honestly was. On this guy, he was definitely the best out of the two that I got, so I opened him in terms of the paint issues right there. Like, the dorsal fins on the other one were actually painted a lot better. But this one was the main issue because it's like you can just go over the dorsal fins with white if you want. But this, my God, like it is, it's really bad. I'm going on forever about it, but it's just such a big issue for me because they've never had this issue before. And, I kind of wish someone had pointed it out, or it was a little bit more noticeable, like how with when they released the original promo image of 1985, where the sculpt was just terrible, and so they just went back to the drawing board and resculpted it a little bit overall, and even changed some of the bits with the figure. But yeah, like, my God, that kind of kills it for some people. I know, right there with the lower jaw, and for me, it really hurts it too. Like, like I said, I passed up the Monster Arts version for this guy, and I was really excited for him, especially when he was supposed to. And of course, in typical Neca Godzilla fashion, he got pushed back a couple months for absolutely no reason, at least that has been stated to us, maybe due to like approval from Toho not being in time, and of course, manufacturing issues could have popped up. But yeah, wow, I really do wish they could have fixed that. It's a huge issue for me, and God, yeah, it's definitely gonna hurt it for you. If you're gonna be collecting any Godzilla figures, you might, depending on your budget and stuff, most people might end up just going with the Monster Arts. Now, as we move down the figure, pretty much keeping in line with just about the entire line of the Neca Godzillas outside of, say, the 12-inch or 24 head to tail inch version. Just got a little bit of posability right here, a lot of movement. You can get like a slight wiggle out of it, which is good, but you can get a full 360 degrees out of it right here, and then right here as well. Let me see if I can get it. But yeah, well, no, you can get full 360 out of it right here. So right here you can see is another joint where the tail, well, the second half of the tail is connected. Same with the rest of it. You can get a movement out of it, 360 degrees. You can actually get a bit more up and down as it's got a different joint just so it fits in a little bit nicer, as well as this section, same thing, a little bit more up and down 360 degrees on that. And then unlike the rest of the tail where it's a more sturdy plastic, this is sort of like more bendable. Although I gotta say, compared to the previous Godzilla figures, this is actually a lot sturdier than the others, which I definitely like. I don't really like how flimsy some of them were, but definitely an upgrade in my opinion. I know some people might like the posability a bit more, since that was like them trying to get closer to like sort of Monster Arts Tales posability on sort of a budget. But no, I definitely like this approach a lot better. Alright, and as you can see right here for the arms, in terms of posability, you can get the arms out about like this far. That's as far as it seems as though they're going to go. And then you can get full 360 degrees on both of them. As you can see, let me fix that. A little tight, I will say. And then for the arms, you got the nice little, well, you know, maybe that's more of like not an elbow joint. As you can see, they've kind of got the elbow sculpted onto like sort of the arm right here. But yeah, it's got the nice little joint right there. You can get a nice little range of movement out of them. You don't need too much, of course, because it's Godzilla. And then just like a little back and forth on that, both of them. 360 degrees on both the hands. And one other thing that I really like about the NECA line is that they do have a little bit of posability on the actual hands themselves. As you can see, you can sort of close it just about this much, and then open about like that much. Unlike some of the other ones where, like, you know, if you wanted to have a little bit of fun with them, you can sort of like have them holding stuff. I know, like, I have like one of my 1954s like holding a lightsaber, which I think is kind of funny. But yeah, no, I really do like the posability that they give the hands. It's just a nice little feature that they could have honestly left out. Like, you know, say most of the Monster Arts figures don't really have that option. It's not needed, but it's just nice knowing that it's there and that you can do whatever you want with it if you can. Alright, and now, yeah, this is one of the biggest issues I've had with the NECA Godzillas as a whole for the line, is just the posability with the legs is not really the best, and at times it's actually kind of spotty, if not a little shoddy at times. Maybe some point I'll go into a bit about my issues with the Burning Godzilla and how many guys actually went through trying to get a decent posability out of the legs on them. But yeah, right here, no, not as bad as the others right out of the box. You get full 300, well, no, probably not full 360 degrees. You get just about that much. And then right here you can see you can get back just about to right there. That's as far as it'll go on the right leg, and then that's as far as it'll go forward. And then on the foot right here, you can get full 360 degrees around, and then you get slight pivot to the left and to the right. You get a little bit, just a tiny bit forward, and then back. You get a lot more than you do forward. With this leg right here, you get, that's as far as it'll go back. Not that I could see that you'd really want to. And then same right here, you can get it down. Both of them do go out quite a bit, as you can see right there. And then just bring it right back in, right there. Same thing on this one, although I noticed the articulation is a little bit looser in terms of getting it to move. It might actually go up a little bit more on this leg, and then goes a bit further out. Maybe that's just me, maybe it doesn't go as further out. And then same thing with the feet itself, although it keeps wanting to move anytime I touch the foot, because it's a little bit looser on this side. But yeah, you can get back a little bit, forward. Yeah, so you can't really get back as much on this foot as you can on the right one, at least for my figure at least. And the pivot is not as really there as it is on the right leg and feet. Just really, I mean, maybe it's due to the paint or the glue, but yeah, it really does not want to move, which Which brings me to, my major complaint with the Neca Godzilla line as a whole is just the legs. For whatever reason, maybe I'm seeing it wrong or what, but for the most part, most of the legs on just about every Neca Godzilla figure are really just are off a little bit. Which, like I stated, I've had some issues with the NECA figures in the past for the Godzilla line, and is one thing I really think that they've been ignoring, or maybe people haven't been as vocal about. But it's been an issue that I've been having ever since the beginning with the line back in 2014. Is just that the legs seem to be uneven. Some of them seem to be a little bit longer than the others in some instances. And as you can see right here, some of them aren't even like mirror images. They, for whatever reason, choose to sculpt them separately instead of just doing a remold of, doing it like flipping the mold, or however you would do that in this case. But yeah, it's really odd choice on their part. And I really do hope that they fix it going forward, because it really is a huge hindrance in terms of posability, and especially like a big issue for collectors like myself, who's been supporting this line since the beginning, hoping that it's going to get better, but it just continues to be an issue. But it's definitely not as bad as on, like, say, this figure, and 1985 I'd say is another really bad one in terms of the leg posability and trying to get it just right so you can have him standing upright on both feet, where it's not like really weird looking. And like I said, I can't stress enough just how much I wish they would fix this issue going forward with the line. However long they have left with their contract with Toho, I really hope that they continue doing it for the foreseeable future. I know as of right now, the only figure that they've announced coming out next is just Shin Godzilla, or Shin Gojira, whichever you prefer. But yeah, no, I really hope they do fix him. Well, not him, but the line as a whole. Just because, per whatever their agreement was, they're only allowed to release Godzilla figures through the line, which, is another thing I really do hope that changes. I neglected to mention just like the little joint right here, at the sort of abdomen chest right here, which it's a lot better than most of the previous ones, where it's, it's there. But it's not, loose like I've had with some of them. But at the same time, it's kind of like just it's just there. Like, that's honestly kind of why I forgot to mention it before. You can just get like slight movement down, and just like a little bit up, no pivot. But you do get side to side rotation out of it. You don't want to mess with it too much, just because the dorsal fins in the back will bend, unless you're okay with that. But yeah, no, like, great job all around, aside from the few issues. Well, I wouldn't say great job all around, actually, just because of the lower jaw. Like, that is, oh my god, like, that is one of the worst things I've come across in a figure as of late. And it's really sad that it's on this Godzilla figure, because like I stated, this is the one that I've been waiting for ever since they announced it. Well, I'm like that with all the Godzilla figures that NECA does, honestly. But no, like, it was really disappointing when I saw those first images. I mean, like, I didn't really see anybody talking about it too much in some of the groups and forums online with this figure, which was kind of odd for me. Maybe I missed some of the people talking about it. But yeah, no, that was a really bad move on NECA's part, and I cannot honestly think, other than them trying to be cheap, choosing that route, just because not only it was the paint just really terribly applied to it, it just sticks out too much on the sides. I mean, it's not too much, but it's really noticeable, especially when compared to the past Godzilla figures they've done. Alright, here's just a few comparisons. It wrap things up. all the issues aside, I do think it is really worth picking up. He's a really nice looking figure. Get some nice poses out of him that I know some others have. But yeah, no, to wrap things up here, definitely think he's worth picking up, especially, like, you know, I stated a few times, if you're a NECA collector or even a Godzilla collector, he's definitely worth a place on your shelf. He's a really nice sculpt, as well as, like, mostly really nice paint job. And yeah, like, you really can't beat the price, especially compared to Monster Arts. I mean, you know, like I stated earlier, I think the 2001 Godzilla, when they released it, was like 80, somewhere like 80, 85 from most places like Amazon and stuff, which honestly, like, you know, that's a whole nother video in and of itself, my issues with Monster Arts. But basically, in short, like, that price point with, like, how they've been having so many issues with paint apps lately, and then of course, like, the lacking accessories for the most part with some of the figures. I mean, like, $85 is just, like, ridiculous in terms of, like, him, like, coming with nothing. But, you know, compare it to NECA, you get, like, the same figure with, you know, in some instances, like, in my opinion, a much better sculpt in some places. In some places, not so much, of course. But no, I really do think, like, you know, if you had to choose between one or the other, you know, you get the same amount of accessories. I think NECA is definitely worth picking up. Not only because it's a great figure, but supporting a really great toy line for the most part. Like, you know, I've stated I have my issues with NECA itself, but I really do think that this is a great line we're supporting, and I do hope not only that it improves, but we see more, not only Godzilla's, like some more fan favorite ones like this in 54, but I really do hope that, you know, later down the road, maybe like a year or two, Toho loosens up a bit and allows them to do other monsters, because I think that would be really awesome. And I really do think this guy is worth picking up. Guys, on the next episode of Jedihunter Toy Reviews, where I'm going to be taking a look at the recently released Black Series Walgreens exclusive C-3PO. Expect that episode coming out hopefully a lot quicker than this one. I know I was expecting to get a video out sometime around the past weekend, or even maybe like Monday, but of course that was Halloween and a couple things came up, so that pushed this one back a little bit. But I'm definitely going to try and get the C-3PO review out soon. So yeah, definitely, you know, if you enjoyed the video, give a like. If you didn't, comment below and let me know some things I could possibly improve for next time. If you want to look forward to more reviews, go ahead and subscribe. Catch you guys on the next episode of Jedihunter Toy Reviews.